Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Comport's Fast Track at HPE Discover 2021. This afternoon, we will have Mike Wenzel, Comport's president, updating you on what's new at Comport. Following Mike will be Joe Vidal, HPE Master Technologist, summarizing 3 days of HPE Discover announcements. The past 18 months has been a trying and challenging for literally everyone in all sorts of ways. As you can see, we are not in Las Vegas for the second year. And like many of you, I am still working from home, looking forward to the day when I'll be back at the headquarters, which is the picture in the background, for more than 1 or 2 days a month picking up my mail. Speaking as a business owner, I had no idea what was going to happen as our world shut down last year. But over time, together, we have gone to new and better places. We have developed deeper relationships with many of you as we solve problems together. We helped each other. We figured things out together. We met the needs of our customers and employees that enabled them to carry on safely and securely. I appreciate your trust in Comport, and I sincerely thank you for that trust. I look forward to meeting and seeing each of you in person once again. And now, here's Mike Wenzel with Comport Update.
Thanks, Jack. Good afternoon, everyone. Mike Wenzel here. I'd like to welcome you to our event today. As Jack mentioned, we've lined Joe up next, so I'm super excited about that. Joe will summarize the major announcements coming out of HPE Discover from last week. A couple of quick housekeeping items. Since we're having so much fun with these meeting tools today we're using Zoom. You can go to the top right corner of your screen. Please switch the view to gallery, from gallery to speaker view. Thank you. You'll be muted during the session to eliminate background noise, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll answer them as we go. Also, you'll be receiving the slides after the event, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. I only have a few minutes with you today, so in that time, I'd like to discuss 3 important items. What's new at Comport with our 3 major lines of business, which are Comport Technology Solutions, Comport Healthcare Solutions, and Comport Secure, which is our cloud, managed service, and everything as a service division. I'm proud to say that Comport Secure was named to the prestigious CRN list of the top managed service companies in the country this year. So we're very excited about that. It's really a testament to the fantastic team that we have here at Comport. As Jack mentioned, it was another huge year of change for all of us. I haven't seen this kind of change happen so rapidly in my 20 years at Comport. When I spoke to some of you last year around this time, we were only about 4 months into the pandemic, and now it's been 16 months since the initial shutdowns. We're just beginning to get back out. In-person meetings are beginning to occur, and we'll start to see how some of the things we speculated about will actually unfold. Things like, how will we work? To what degree will business go back to their offices? And to what degree will we have in-person versus remote? And what changes will become more permanent in how we work and live? At Comport, we spent a lot of time during the pandemic working on the areas we believe that will give Comport the greatest advantage on the other side of this pandemic. I really break it down into 3 key areas. How do we facilitate the best culture for our employees? Where do we place our bets? And most importantly, how do we create the best experience for you, our clients? You know, COVID has really galvanized the themes we keep hearing about, like digital transformation, customer experience, worker mobility, and the security needs to go along with everything we do. So when I look at these themes, we're in an era now where the technology products themselves are sometimes less important than the outcomes. You know, I continue to hear the same thing from our customers, that it's not public cloud or private cloud, it's both. I'm really proud of Comport's position and our expertise to help you do both hybrid and as a service, where our focus is 100% on achieving the best outcomes for you. What we've seen from our clients is they're looking for a combination of security, customer and user experience, and simplification. Things are getting much more complex. And we are hearing from our clients, tell me, and in many cases, show me how I can actually leverage these technologies. It's confusing. Comport is doubling down our investments and resources around our long-term goal which is to offer everything in our portfolio as a service. Today, you'll hear from Joe about some exciting new developments with HPE GreenLake, which is HPE's consumption model. Comport is a leading partner for HPE GreenLake. At Comport, we also consider ourselves an everything as a service integrator. What does that actually mean? All of these as a service solutions need to be integrated into a suite that can be managed, secured, and billed monthly, quarterly. And by management, I'm not talking just about performance. I'm also talking about usage and financial management. We're able to deliver this to you through a process that starts with thorough assessments and is complemented with services customized specifically to your needs. So we're putting it all together in use cases like desktop as a service, where our clients get that seamless end-to-end experience that they're looking for. So we're really excited about our progress over the last 12 months. Our mission is straightforward. It's to drive business value, innovation, and security for you from the edge to the cloud. And we do this by providing you with the best people and resources, the best partnerships with companies like HPE and Aruba, Palo Alto, Nutanix, and many others. And finally, as I mentioned, we aim to make everything available to you in an everything as a service model. So this includes HPE GreenLake. If you've not been briefed by us on these really strong consumption options, let us get that done for you. We have a lot of great and innovative options for you to review. One thing that seems to have gotten worse is that we all have way too much work to do and not enough people to do it. Our Comport Secure Service Catalog, which I'll talk a little bit about, includes a really rich set of high-value services aimed at solving that very problem. These offerings include dedicated and managed hosting in one of our 3 data center locations in either New York, Las Vegas, or Atlanta. We also have a full suite of offerings from those fully dedicated environments to backup and DR as a service options, to managed hyperscale offerings from AWS, Azure, and others, as well as a bunch of other solutions like desktop as a service, security assessments, managed services, which are all available to you in flexible consumption models so that you only pay for what you need. Here's a great example. We're working with a customer in a highly regulated business with over 100 locations. This particular customer is looking to modernize their core infrastructure. They wanted to evaluate their options to either purchase new hardware, software, and keep it on-prem, which is what they were doing, or outsource to a dedicated managed environment, or move their entire stack to public cloud. After working closely with us to assess all their options, they chose a hybrid approach with us through Comport Secure. They're leveraging 2 of our Tier 5 data center sites where we're SOC 2 compliant. In our solution, we're providing dedicated managed infrastructure as a service, coincidentally, all on HPE server storage and networking at our Atlanta site. And for business continuity, we're leveraging our multi-tenant cloud for backup and DR as a service in Las Vegas. We also built a deep storage archive tier for them to a hyperscaler. And all of this is wrapped in a customized set of managed services so they can feel comfortable that Comport Secure has them fully covered. So day one in their contract, this client is built in predictable costs for additional capacity, software, and services. So here's a summary of what's happened in Comport Secure over the last 18 months. We've completed major expansions of 2 of our data center spaces, Las Vegas and Atlanta. We've expanded our security offerings with new things like SOC as a service. We've tripled the number of customer devices under management. And as a result of all of these investments, we've doubled in revenue. And I think the reason is that customers are taking things off their plate so they can focus on projects that have a higher return for their time. They're going further up the stack themselves and having Comport manage some of that day-to-day stuff. So let me transition to the dark cloud that seems to be plaguing all of us these days, and that's security. Since the beginning of the pandemic, there's been a 148% increase in ransomware attacks. While ransomware is not new, these attacks have become more sophisticated and expensive. We've all watched the painful attacks on SolarWinds, Colonial Pipeline, JBS Meat, and Peloton, to name a few. The average cost of data breach now for a customer is nearly $4 million. And despite all of these warnings and all of these high-profile breaches, the state of readiness for many businesses continues to be dismal. And the threat vectors continue to grow from what has primarily been phishing attacks. Now we need to protect a widely deployed mobile workforce, as well as IoT devices that are network's edge, hybrid cloud, where we have both data and apps on-prem, some in the cloud. So none of this is easy. You need proactive measures around training, testing, policy management, and monitoring for unexpected behaviors in place to even have a chance. Comport can help you here. We can analyze your network, and we help you assess your security posture and report on security vulnerabilities. One of the things that I see time and time again are organizations that don't have hardened backups. And if they do have backups, can they really do a restore? This is an area that Comport has tremendous experience. We can help you evaluate your options from design, and that's choosing the right platforms, whether that's Veeam, Cohesity, Zerto, Comport Secure, or both, all the way through regular testing. That way you can assure, in the case of a breach, you can actually recover. So I'd like to switch gears for a moment to AI. More and more of our clients are seeking more advanced technologies to gain a competitive advantage. Whether you're a quant fund looking for a trading edge, or a healthcare company working on storing and analyzing large data sets, whether it's genetic sequencing, microscopy, or imaging, they all require a modern approach for faster insights. The storage architectures needed to handle these demanding workloads and latency-sensitive applications like AI require the best technical resources to help you design and build these clusters correctly. As HPE CEO Antonio Neri said in his keynote last week, the future belongs to the fast, and those that can act on their data the fastest win. Our Comport technical resources and deep partnerships can help you on your AI and HPC journey. Let's talk about your networks. In the last few years, Comport has helped our clients analyze millions of square feet of wireless and Bluetooth so they can build high-speed networks to support some of the most demanding requirements. We're seeing our customers move to new facilities, expand to more remote and satellite locations, and they're struggling to pull all these locations together into a simple, high-speed, secure, and low-cost wide area network. For example, in healthcare, like many industries, there's a need to move large amounts of data and big files from site to site. Latency is a big deal. So just throwing more bandwidth at the problem won't solve it. One of the solutions that stands out is Silver Peak from Aruba. They provide SD-WAN, routing, security, and WAN optimization on a single unified platform. We have an assessment service and tool called Aruba Value Advisor that'll show you what kind of ROI you could expect if you move to an SD-WAN solution. We can help you build your business case to get this type of high return project started. We're seeing a deluge of new IoT devices connected to our customers' networks. For our healthcare clients, Comport Healthcare Solutions has a new strategic partnership with Medigate. They're a network traffic inspection tool built to identify all the devices on your network. Their true value prop is providing deep visibility into your unmanaged IoT devices, what risks they present, and what actions can be taken to mitigate those risks. Comport can help you with your IoT strategy and wrapping your arms around security. Lastly, we have a complete portfolio of professional and assessment services that run the gamut from testing, security vulnerabilities, DR readiness, VDI, cloud, wireless. We even have a full technology stack and risk assessment service where we can do a complete inventory of all of your IT. We evaluate areas of risks, but more importantly, opportunity. Then together, we can help you build a technology vision for the future. So let me wrap up with a few conclusions. Comport is still small enough to give you true personal attention and the help you need, but large enough to have the deep technical expertise. We also bring meaningful relationships with industry leaders and technology to you. We started by discussing outcomes. We recognize in many cases, budget and resource limitations crush plans. We know how to deliver the best prices to you, the best value, and we have the expertise and the newest approaches to help you achieve the outcomes you're looking for. You can't do this all yourself. We see that making changes takes multiple designs, multiple explanations, lots of changes, and there's always a lot of listening. We always have one goal in mind when we're working with you, and that's to deliver on those high value outcomes.
This is Joe Vidal. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. And I want to thank Mike and Jack for their opening comments and thank all of you for dialing in today or connecting into the webinar. I'm the Master Technologist in the Office of the North America CTO for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and I have the extreme luxury of trying to summarize everything that we announced last week at the HPE Discover 2021 virtual experience. And I'm going to go over just several of the sessions that I thought were the top or key sessions. And I'm going to talk to you about the highlights. And then I'm going to go a little deeper into just a few of those segments, giving you pointers, and by the way, to all of them, and kind of highlighting everything that Antonio Neri talked about. Antonio Neri being our CEO, of course, and his keynote was incredible. You know, and let me just say that basically across the 3 days there was really a theme, right, for each of the days. The day one theme was exciting the market about where HPE is going, our vision, our strategy, how we're doing so far, and how the market really is responding to our direction, which I think right now is very, very solid. He also had Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, join him on the stage, and I'm going to go into a little detail about what that message was in just a few minutes. Day two was really embracing the base, really thriving in the age of insight. We had some spotlights from some of our technology leaders and the insights from some of the trailblazers. All of that was live. And then on day three, we empowered the experts with updates from HP Labs, empowering the technologists and exclusive access to technology expertise and a lot of live demos. Now, day one, as I mentioned, was Antonio Neri, Beth Ford, the CEO of Land O'Lakes, Derek O'Halloran from WEF, and purpose-driven transformation, kind of elevating that brand. But he had the CEO from GM and also the chief security officer, I believe it was, from Fidelity Information Services, or FIS, joined him on a stage. I'll cover that in just a second. Then we also had a Champions for Change and a Women's Leaders in Technology session. These were great sessions, folks. And we got pointers to them so that you can see everything. Across the days, we had all kinds of sessions. As you can see here, there were 10 HP spotlights, 3 keynotes, 6 hands-on labs, 5 Hack Shack workshops, which were hands-on workshops, 28 Tech Academy courses where your folks can get certifications if they wanted to get an ASE, Accredited Systems Engineering or Solutions Engineering certification, as well as Master ASE certifications were available with free tests and vouchers to do those tests in real time. So those are still available. These are on demand. They can be pulled down on demand. Now, the keynote, the primary keynote from Antonio Neri was really talking about the next wave of digital transformation and the fact that that's here and now, that HPE or Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is focused on all the technology and all the data around us from edge to cloud, securing all of it. And then we heard from the CEO of General Motors, Mary Barra, on what she and HPE are doing to help drive the next wave of autonomous cars as GM plans to replace all of their, we're going to call it gas-powered engines with electrical driven or battery-driven cars, electrical motored vehicles in the next 5 years. 5 to 6 years. And then we heard from Bob Lecter as the Chief Data Officer from FIS. Now, I'm going to go over some of what Antonio Neri's message was because I think it's really key to understanding the direction of HPE and how everything that we talked about and everything that we presented, all the technologies and all the investments that we're making in new technologies, new companies. And Antonio, by the way, alluded to a couple new acquisitions that still haven't been announced, and one that was just announced this past week, Tempered, another investment in the AI space, because we're focusing on enabling those edge-centric devices to be secured, cloud-enabled, and data-driven, because that's the environment within which we live right now. More importantly, We have so much more data coming in. We need more insights, and it's too hard. Nearly 75% of every AI project that is proposed, strategized, and planned never sees fruition, never sees production. It's kind of like the way we've seen blockchain projects, and blockchain projects, by the way, Antonio mentioned this too, that in the past years, 90% of all blockchain projects never make it to production. However, suddenly, in the last 6 months, blockchain has become a thing again. And that's, of course, because of all the security issues that we've seen. And you heard from both Jack and from Mike that security and security breaches are up almost 150% in the last 15 months. 150%. Not only that, the average longevity or time to recognize a data breach has gone from 145 days to over 200 days. And HPE's taken notice. We've all taken notice, but HPE is actually doing something about it. And that was a major focus of the technologies and the announcements that we made. And I'm going to talk to you about that in just a second. That's called Project Aurora. But enabling a cloud-first strategy as we move from cloud first to cloud everywhere, as we also recognize that there's a move from centralized technology or centralized infrastructure to distributed infrastructure. As you heard from Jack, again, it's not about whether it's going to be public cloud or private cloud or hybrid cloud. It's both. It's actually a mix of all of those. We recognize that, and we're helping people facilitate that, and at the same time, securing it all. Because let's face it, 50% of data, that all the data that's created is at the edge. And we can't wait for that data to be brought back into a central location to be processed. It has to be processed at the edge. Let me give you an example. So if any of you are traveling yet again, I applaud you. And I'm looking forward to those days of being able to travel again myself. I've only had 2 trips. And actually, that's not true. I had 4 trips. 2 of them were personal. 2 of them were business over the last 15 months. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to traveling, let's just say 2 to 3 days a week. It's what we do. We like that customer interaction, that face-to-face interaction. But as we travel, if you didn't realize it, that in every airplane, there's over 2 terabytes of information created and generated by each engine on each airplane each hour. That's 1 terabyte of information per engine per hour. And let's hope that your airplane has at least 2 engines, right? Fault domains, right? I know Lori gets me on this. So bottom line is that's a lot of information. You can't wait for all that information to be transferred back to a centralized data center to act upon it if something's happening in that engine, if something's happening to the air pressure in the plane, if something's happening to the oxygenation or the oxygen quality in that plane, you have to act on it instantly. So that has to be processed at the edge. Now that's the edge, right, in the plane and transportation. So when we're talking about enabling people to come back to the office, Comport certainly has smart office space solutions and smart workspace solutions, and we're helping deliver solutions that enable a completely touchless environment and a completely secure environment that tracks people in the workplace and in congregation spaces, so that we're tracking that social distancing and things that are still being supported and are smart. Certainly after we've gone now to the 4th variant of the coronavirus is now out and even more deadly than the original one. And if you haven't heard about it, please check it out. Bottom line is that, my wife and I are all vaccinated and all that great stuff, even though we both had COVID throughout the middle of the pandemic and got over it. It's one of those things that we're all everybody has their own area that their own comfort zone. The bottom line is, as we're recognizing people as they come into our offices, we're ensuring that they're safe. We're checking their temperature. We're doing all this in touchless environments, and we have to do all that. Some of that processing is absolutely at the edge, because let's face it, there's going to be 55 billion devices connected by the end of next year. And that's happening very, very quickly. While 80 to 85% of enterprises run on that last mile problem, that last mile, which is connecting that information and turning into some type of business insight, right? That's going to help you be more profitable. Now, let's talk about how we're doing it and some of the technologies that we've, let's just say, acquired over the last few years. Yes, we're focused on platform-based security or zero trust security. Data intelligence mobility is around the nimble access or acquisition that we did just about 3 years ago, and the InfoSight tool, which is an AI-driven cloud enabled cloud processed AI or artificial intelligence tool that helps drive up upwards of 86% of all troubleshoot or trouble tickets are opened and closed automatically by InfoSight. And we're driving InfoSight to touch and manage and give us insight about every piece of infrastructure that HPE manufactures. At the same time, we've acquired MapR to give us better, more standardized file structure for open files and container-based solutions so that we can automate that. So as we are driving more and more deeper, richer technologies and compute experiences, we're driving now from 16 to 24 to 32 cores per processor, CPU, 2 CPUs minimum per server, hopefully. I'm all about compute, right? So with all of that, you have to be able to drive more and more application stacking. Virtualization isn't enough anymore. So containerization on top of that virtualization to really stack the applications in and at the same time secure them. You heard about Pensando. We've heard about Silver Peak. You actually heard about Silver Peak from my Comport executives and counterparts. Silver Peak is locking down and offering that secure software-defined WAN solution and optimizing that solution. And now an acquisition we just made last week, Determined, driving more AI advancements and use cases, and more importantly, simplifying the rolling out and accelerating those solutions, helping us do things like we've done with Mercedes-Benz, like with General Motors, both on the autonomous vehicle side and on the GM financial side, pushing out the containerized applications for machine learning and analytics in their hybrid cloud, and at the same time, helping them design more autonomous vehicles faster and easier. These are just some of the things that Antonio covered in his keynote. And I implore you to click on, that link. All of these links are active, and you will receive this entire deck when we're done here. I've got a few more things I'm going to share, but I just wanted to make sure that I spotlight one of the other spotlight sessions here, and that was about GreenLake in general. If you haven't heard about GreenLake is, of course, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise private cloud solution, the cloud that comes to you, the cloud that offers you a dashboard that brings together all of your cloud resources, whether they're Amazon private or public, whether they're Google private or public, or whether they're Microsoft Azure private or public, or maybe it's some other VMware Cloud Federation solution or some other solution. We bring that all together with an open API set, with an open workflow automation engine that enables you to automate everything and see everything and make intelligent decisions, informed decisions about where that next resource needs to be placed and what the cost is for that next resource group. All of that's done for you within GreenLake. And of course, as you heard from Jack and Mike, Comport is thankfully one of our best partners when it comes to GreenLake partnering. They can host GreenLake in their facilities and extend your GreenLake environment to give you visibility to all of those resources wherever they might be. Now, there's lots of demos, hands-on labs, GreenLake sessions that are covering every little nuance of the workloads versus the platforms versus the application stacks versus the tools, the API coupling, and everything else. And then we also, this was the really big push this year at HPE Discover, was really all about Project Aurora. And Project Aurora is all about delivering groundbreaking technologies to secure and offer security as a service that enables security from edge to the cloud. And Project Aurora is, they named it Stop Playing Whack-A-Mole with Security. It's a groundbreaking set of embedded and integrated technologies that secures HPE's as-a-service experiences across everything that we do into all aspects of HPE products, edge to cloud, providing enterprises a new way to identify and defend against zero-day attacks. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit deeper understanding of what Aurora is, understanding, again, once again, there were lots of sessions on Project Aurora. This particular link right here will give you that entire detail on embedding zero trust building blocks from silicon to cloud. The Project Aurora press release here. This link gives you access to, I believe it was a 20-minute session on Aurora itself, and then other deeper dive sessions on Aurora. But let me just give you a feel for exactly what Project Aurora is, okay? It's really delivering a secure environment from edge to cloud, whether you're working with co-location solutions or data centers or custom private cloud solutions like what Comport offers, right? Offering you capabilities to measure, attest, and verify. As Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. Well, today, we don't trust anybody. We start with a zero trust mentality and we verify everything because there are a lot of bad actors out there. And these are just a very few examples of some of the bad actors that are out there, right? There are workload agnostic, we're going to call it uh, breaching tools that are available on the dark web for free. You can download these things. And I'm going to talk to you about one of them called Drorweb. But before I do, I want you to understand that what we're doing and what we understand is you have to secure your supply chain, the infrastructure itself, the operating system, the hypervisors, the platforms, which is the entire reference architecture, and then the workloads themselves and the applications, right? Because there are vulnerabilities at every level of the solution, whether it's compromised firmware across the supply chain, compromised components, maybe a compromised person with working on the factory floor within your supply chain. Remember, if you didn't know this, more than 60% of all hacks, of all break-ins, actually occur, they're inside jobs, okay? Meaning that somebody on the inside put a backdoor in there or shared that information or allowed it to be done and did it for egregious reasons, right? Sometimes it's done accidentally by someone inside, but more often than not, it's not, right? It's done on purpose. Now, when it comes to Drorweb, and Antonio and team mentioned this one, so I'm calling it out here. Drorweb is one of the biggest, baddest GRU-sponsored hacking packages available for free, openly on the dark web. And it gets in there by placing a package at the workload and application layer. It can be implemented via a USB stick. And this can be done via a spear phishing attack. This can be done via somebody tossing a USB stick on your driveway that says Joe's pictures. And one of my kids sees that USB stick, they bring it inside thinking, oh, these are dad's pictures. Let's see if he has any pictures of me. They stick it in the computer, and just like that, you've got a keylogger installed in one of the systems at your home office. And let's face it, but before everything happened in the pandemic 15 months ago, myself and several others across HP in the office of the CTO, as well as one of my new counterparts now that came from the FBI. He worked for the FBI for 20 years as one of the top cybersecurity experts here in the United States. In fact, he was the lead cybersecurity field agent for the FBI. He now works for Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And we were trying to tell everybody that would listen to lock down your executives' home offices because that's the highest vulnerability. And what happened? The pandemic forced us all home, and we were all sent and opened up to hacking attacks because our executives were at home. It's the easiest way in, and these phishing attacks, spear phishing attacks, as they're called when you're focused on a single person, are the best way and easiest way in there. So please, you need to train, and then test and retrain. And by that, I mean, if you haven't implemented phishing, anti-phishing training, and then doing tests for you on your employees to ensure that they're catching these things in email as they come across. If they accidentally click on it, then they need to go through more training, right? We do this extensively at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and we do it more than just every other month. So please make sure that your folks are implementing these. The Admiral Container Platform recognizes Drorweb now, right? And we're implementing it in the management portal so that each of these known hacking devices and techniques are now being recognized, and the average time to detection, while it's extended from 145 to 240 days, what our Green Lake Lighthouse solutions and of course the solutions that were done with Project Aurora are helping us lower and shorten the time to detection from 240 days now to less than 6 seconds. So we can guarantee you that we would have recognized any Drorweb we do recognize any of these types of things, any of these hacks, like what happened to the Colonial Pipeline and others. These are things that our tools do. In fact, they're proven to stop, right? We're implementing these on cloud native platforms, ensuring that they're secure. We're growing capacity and adding workloads on multi-workload orchestration. Our Green Lake Lighthouse solutions are making it easy to implement this, and you're going to see new packaging for our our Project Aurora solution stack, our entire platform, will be available in a Green Lake Lighthouse solution pack that's going to give you validated catalogs to optimize your blueprints, your reference architectures, securing that cloud native environment. And let me just talk to you a little bit about the way that it works, right? So HP Green Lake Lighthouse is a set of solutions that will rapidly allow you to accelerate the implementation of reference architecture orchestration, implementing Esmeralda containers. And Esmeralda containers, I'll talk a little bit about that, but Esmeralda is basically our cloud container platform and our cloud data, or our Esmeralda Data Fabric, which is our smarter AI fabric to enhance artificial intelligence, deliver high performance computing in a data fabric, right? And then our VM as a service, bare metal infrastructure as a service, network as a service, storage as a service, compute as a service. All of these are wrapped around a simple Lighthouse implementation that makes it easy to implement these in a secure environment with control and metering, with modules that give you capacity, and more importantly, the ability to report on that and do bill back based on usage. And of course, the Green Lake Central consistent cloud experience across all of them. Now, what we're really announcing here is that we're wrapping these with a Project Aurora wrapper that guarantees a zero trust fabric and a zero trust architecture that locks these down and secures them all, so that if any element of your solution that might be implemented via Green Lake, we would recognize any issue, any breach attempt, or any threat vector within 6 seconds. And we'll be offering up contracts that put teeth into those contracts, right? And guarantee you this type of approach. Now, we also talked about other edge success stories in Aruba, our Aruba networking solution, because I talked about the massive number of edge devices that are connected. This is really a big personal area of interest for Antonio and for all of our executives. And it's a huge opportunity for all of us. And it's certainly an area where most of our customers have a lot of dark data that they're not doing anything with. And as we've now moved from the first wave through the second wave, the first wave of computing was, of course, data center-based computing, centralized computing. Then we moved to cloud-based computing. And now we're moving to edge computing, and beyond that to that third wave of innovation that brings it all together via hybrid cloud and a hybrid innovation or hybrid way of innovating. More importantly, we're accelerating the time to bring those solutions in that computational edge inference together, because we're cutting out the time delay that it takes normally for data transfers. You've got data capture, which is when the data is actually created at the edge. Typically, then it takes some time to transfer that data back to the centralized compute location or data center or cloud premise location, right? Even if it's off-prem in a public cloud, then the data analysis occurs. Well, we're getting rid of that by doing the data analysis in real time as the data is being created, so that your decision vector, your decision opportunity, and your action occurs before typically that data analysis would even have begun. And that is really giving us the opportunity to radically accelerate your time to actionable insight for your business and your time to profitability. That's really what HPE's Intelligent Edge and Open Solution Stack is all about. And the Green Lake solutions that bring that edge networking and security, the edge compute storage, data management, workload orchestration, and analytics and machine learning all together in a cloud managed environment. That's what HPE Green Lake and our Esmeralda family of solutions and our Lighthouse solutions are all about, is your edge applications packaged together in whatever makes sense for you. And these are groundbreaking, simplified ways of deploying public, private, and hybrid cloud workloads. More importantly, we're packaging them now and enabling them with an Aruba Central solution that delivers smart software-defined networking solutions from the ground up, delivering network as a service, wrapped around and managed by Aruba Central, now with expansions. And we've expanded the Aruba Central portfolio so that it's remote, branch office, cloud, campus, data center, unifying the network operations across all the domains, whether they're wireless, wired, software-defined branch gateways, 5G capable. And right now, if you didn't realize it, 5G is kind of a big thing, right? And as we all know from physics, the higher the frequency, the shorter the distance. So as we make that move from 3G and 4G now to 5G cellular Wi-Fi communications, we understand that 5G, the 5G frequencies, the 5G waves do not penetrate metal structures or brick structures or cement structures very well, if at all, which is why all of us are having to implement 5G repeaters or 5G cellular um, transmitters within the buildings themselves. Well, Aruba, HP and Aruba have been working with Verizon, AT&T, and all the top cellular service providers for years. We have several patents now in delivering 4G and 5G native within Aruba access points. So we can deliver that and implement it and manage it all together in a single solution, in a single console, and that's Aruba Central, right? So Aruba Central now can also, we understand that it's not an all HPE Aruba networking world. Lots of folks have Cisco. If you do, guess what? We can manage that too. And it wasn't just a couple years ago. Aruba Central actually managed more Cisco networks than Cisco did. And I know that's a hard claim to make, but we've got the stats on it. And the nice thing is that we can manage it all together in a single solution, give you visibility in a software-defined policy engine that allows you to lock down policy-based devices so that your devices have policies that define what and when and where they can access what data, so that you don't have a smart thermostat somehow accidenting the master customer database and accessing your network and allowing a breach, like what happened at Target years ago. That can't happen with what we've done with security. And of course, when it comes to AI ops, well, we're delivering Aruba Central services, network as a service services that lock those down from onboarding through provisioning, orchestration, analytics, location, and management. All of that then is mapped and started with connection, protecting, analyzing, and acting, and then finally accelerating the time to those solutions. Well, that's a lot to take in, I know, and there's a lot of things that we covered here, but those were really kind of the big ones, right? HPE is really focused on around advancing the way people live and work. We're doing that with engineering technologies. We're a group of engineers. We're not marketeers. So we design stuff, and you can even spell that with an SCH or however you'd like to spell it. But we design stuff. And we don't necessarily market it the best, and we don't get the message out there, but we're driving the best and brightest people to deliver on their full potential to lock down and securely, easily implement all the solutions that you need to drive better insights for your business. Whether you're in healthcare, in manufacturing, in education, in public service, and of course, we're delivering these Green Lake Lighthouse solutions soon. You're going to see those come out in announcements in the fall. Now, there were a lot of other sessions talked about at Discover 2021. Another spotlight session was on igniting the AI revolution. We talked more in detail about Esmeralda and Esmeralda software, the Esmeralda container stack, the Esmeralda data fabric solutions, enabling AI high-performance computing and accelerating the time to get those solutions out there. There were Esmeralda hack shacks with demos and live examples and opportunities to actually get your hands on Esmeralda. If you'd like to do that, please click on some of these when you receive these slides later this evening or tomorrow. And also look at the case study here that we did with Mercedes-Benz. We helped Mercedes-Benz deliver, and we help Mercedes-Benz deliver self-driving cars. We help Tesla with that. We help Audi with that. We're kind of big in the autonomous vehicle capabilities in AI. So click on reading the case study here, downloading that information. And I realize that not everybody is in automotive or manufacturing or necessarily in healthcare, but I'm going to give you a couple other examples in just a second. One of the other examples that we did was talking about storage. Now, we made some really big storage announcements just a couple weeks before Discover, so they may not necessarily be new, but we did deeper dives during Discover last week, and you can click on all of those to see more about the Nimble storage solutions and the Elytra storage, which is a new packaging of our top Nimble and Primera storage solutions, Nimble being 6 nines of availability and Primera delivering you 100% availability, guaranteed uptime, just like our nonstop solutions have for many, many years. Please feel free to click on some of these to understand how we're unleashing the power of data from edge to cloud and delivering those solutions. And lastly, the point next services that HPE delivers, aside from what Comport also delivers in customized solutions and assessments, helping you deliver cloud everywhere strategy and maybe even defining what that strategy should look like. We have lots and lots of examples, demonstrations. You hear from a lot of our customers here, whether those customers were in aerospace, air transportation. You might have even heard the session that we did last year about how we're enabling satellites, AI and high performance computing as a satellite service up in the sky and partnering with NASA. There was a great session with NASA that we did talking about the what's it called? Spaceborne Computer 2 that's currently on board the International Space Station, and how you click on there and you can actually suggest some of the tests that you'd like to see run on those systems in real time on the space station. And we heard from one of the astronauts that actually helped implement Spaceborne 1 several years back. And you'll hear about that 3-year plan. And the reason it's a 3-year plan is because it's going to be a 3-year mission to Mars and back. So we're testing out the technology from HP today that's going to be on that Mars mission in a couple years. And then, of course, energy, oil, freight logistics, high-tech manufacturing. And we also heard from Texmark, Refinery of the Future, and what we're doing at the edge to help them deliver a smarter platform. Lots and lots of examples. Now, I understand. As I kind of wrap up here, I understand not everybody's a Texmark, not everybody's a Mercedes-Benz or a General Motors, not everybody has a massive factory, but whether you're in retail or manufacturing of even the smallest bits or clothing lines, whatever it might be, or maybe you're in healthcare, you're looking for smarter healthcare with shorter times for the MRI so that we can get those patients in and out of that MRI, or maybe we're looking at giving them a smart hospital app so that we're welcoming the patients to your facility or your clinic and then suggesting where they go once they get there, that they no longer have to fill out paperwork. They're there and they say, "Welcome, Joe. I see that you're 20 minutes early. Please click here and we'll be glad to walk you to the cafeteria where you can spend some money," or maybe click here and we'll walk you to the gift shop where you can spend some money. And then 5 minutes before your allotted time, we'll automatically guide you to where you need to go in our facility so you don't get lost. Those same solutions are available for all education facilities. We can make a smart school, a smart campus, a smart corporate campus, a smart government campus, whatever it might be, using AI and Aruba technology, just as we've done in all the Home Depot stores around the world to drive AI and drive up their profitability while increasing their inventory turns. These are the solutions that we'd be glad to talk to you about. The use cases scale from small to huge. So please click on these analyst report, click on the full news brief about Project Aurora, and please give us an opportunity. Schedule some time, drop me an email, give me a call, talk to Mike, talk to the team at Comport, because HPE and Comport would love to come in and do a follow-up session with you to talk about how these technologies can help you advance your technologies and make you more profitable and more return business from your customers. So with that, I want to thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it back over to Mike and team.
Amazing. Thank you, Joe. You heard about a lot of things today. I talked about a bunch of things. Jack did. Joe did as well. All of these are things that if you want to engage further with us, we have the resources and the desire to want to have deeper conversations with you. In my opinion, relationships are still king. And we are unbelievably fortunate to have such great customers here that we've had relationships with for many years. Thank you for all of your business. For the people that are new to Comport, if you're looking to learn more about us or build a relationship, a services engagement or assessment is always a great opportunity to do that. So with that, I just want to thank everybody again. I'm really looking forward to getting back on the road and seeing more of you in person. I hope everybody has an awesome summer, and thank you for your time today.